Supernatural fans can test their knowledge of the TV series with Trivial Pursuit Supernatural. This quick-play Trivial Pursuit game can be played on the go with its portable wedge holders. The 600 questions range in difficulty level, so even the super fans will be challenged. Join the hunt with Trivial Pursuit Supernatural. Call your neighborhood toy and game store for availability. For more details, go to USAopoly.com. That's USAopoly.com.
Me.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Hello, my children.
McLeod. Warning. Supernatural The Crossroads contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad.
I went to the crossroads. Fell down on my
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Supernatural The Crossroads. I am your host, Thomas Cowley, and joined with me today is Ryan Denton.
Yellow.
And Michael Flores.
Hello.
And today we are talking about Season 13, Episode 8, The Scorpion and the Frog. We got a bit of news as well today. We've got some casting decisions that have been announced. We've got a little bit on the Wayward Sisters spinoff show, and a little bit of discussion / opinion on a new character that was introduced in this episode. We want to thank everybody who's watching and listening live through Facebook and the Rain Man digital app. And let's get right into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Woo!
This is perhaps truly the first episode that was not directly related to the main myth arc.
Yep.
There's a little bit of touch, it talks about Asmodeus, but he doesn't show up. Even Tombstone, while it wasn't directly myth arc related, it had the return of Castiel and it had the reunion with Jack, so it had a lot of stuff that
There was some base story in there, yeah.
Major, and Jack left in that episode.
Yep.
This episode, though, was a bit of a mixed bag, a different bag of things. It had some humor to it. It had Monster of the Week element.
Yep.
It has a lot of new concepts introduced, new characters, which I was super excited by.
Yes, me too.
And some questions answered, which is one thing I love about this season so far, is that it has answered a lot of questions, whether it's what happens to angels and demons after they die, even to this episode, which is what happened after Crowley got promoted to the King of Hell way back in season 6.
We always wondered that, didn't we?
I think I'm sure we did. I know a lot of fans did, and I know we had to have asked that question on the show at some point, but we actually get an answer to that now. Maybe the character of Barthamus was not perhaps the 100% king for all that time, but we get a little bit about that. And we do also have some additional prizes to give away. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes, that is correct, Thomas.
No.
And this is Radio Schlock Mike.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, good morning, everybody.
I like how it went from radio jock to nerd.
It
was like,
well, there's a thin line.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very thin.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I just like how you said good morning at 6 p.m. Have you left the house?
No.
Do you even know what time it is?
I have no, especially this time of year, because the sun
it's dark here at 4:30.
Yeah, the sun goes down a lot sooner. So I'm like, wow, the sun hasn't even come up yet. I think it's still late at night. It's true. It happens.
You pass out during the few hours of daylight. We're going to have to start a Kickstarter for Mike's medical bills once you eventually, vitamin D deficiency, sleep deficiency.
Well, he's also going to get, he's going to need a lot of electrolytes from all the whacking he's going to do behind those monitors.
Yeah.
That's the one thing he does in his spare time.
Yeah. I mean, okay. First of all, who doesn't whack it in their spare time? Okay. God, come on.
Even if you don't have spare time, geez.
Yeah. You just find time.
Yeah.
It's
one of those
There's
things.
an hour set aside.
Well, listen, you may not have time.
Healthy.
You may not have time to eat all the time, but you definitely have time to.
You got time to whack it. Dude.
Yeah.
Everyone has time.
The must.
Yeah. Keeps you sane. It's good for you.
Anyway, so we are going to have an opportunity for people to win a game thanks to USAopoly.
Ooh.
If we want to thank everybody who was part of the Trivial Pursuit Jerk Bitch game. If you guys missed that, hopefully you checked it out on demand after the fact and saw my glorious victory.
What kind glorious? I mean, I kept it close. I mean, you did win. You won.
I did win.
You won fair and
square. I think that's what matters.
You won fair and square.
Ultimately.
But I mean, I kept it respectful. You know, like it wasn't like a complete blowout.
It's worth watching.
We're going to do another one. And
Yeah.
I think now that both parties understand the rules, I think it'll be more of a challenge for both of you, honestly.
Yeah, I think
so.
we got thrown into the fire and then it was like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I had fun, but I got beat. So, I mean, you can't tell me that people didn't laugh when I forgot Jessica's name. That was
the best moment.
Yeah. I think everybody was laughing at that.
Dude, I can't believe I didn't get that right.
So we are going to be doing a little bit of that today. We might actually require people to answer the question in the chat room this time. We have not yet decided.
Yeah, no, we're going to do it.
Oh, we are going to do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that because we have a new chat room. I want to try
They're
it out.
fast, dude. They're so fast at the question.
Yeah, so let's try out the new chat room. Let's do a little stress test. Plus, I have the phone lines are tied up right now using because we're using the video streaming, and I can't do both.
And they will, whoever answers this and wins a single prize will also be entered into the drawing for the grand prize brought to us all by USAopoly,
which will be announced next week.
Oh shit! Wow, we only have
one more week. One more week of campaign, and we're extending it by 1 day just because the campaign technically ends on Sunday with USAopoly. However, we're going to extend it for 1 day so we can do all the announcements and
on our Monday show.
Yep.
All right. So let's get straight into the news. Get into the concept of this episode. We have Meredith Glynn returning to the helm of a writer. She has done, I think, like 6 or 7 episodes at this point.
I think so.
And once again, we see her put a heavy focus on Dean and comedy. It definitely seems to be her comfort zone in some way.
Yeah.
She enjoys writing for Jensen Ackles, and it is fun to see him go through different acting styles. I mean, we talk about it here all the time, but he does not get enough credit out there in the world. The man has an amazing comedic ability.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think one of the things
dude's fucking funny.
He's hilarious. And I think what I love about him is that he can go from, that serious point to that completely ridiculous, funny, Dean. And I think we saw a nice range in this episode. I mean, he's pretty damn hilarious.
It's funny, and we also got a bunch of new concepts mixed into one big heist style episode,
which was cool.
It was all right. I enjoyed the concept of it. I had a hard time getting connected to some of the characters in this episode.
I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, it's, you introduce a character really fast. It's like you struggle a little bit.
Is the purpose, Thomas, though, and maybe Ryan will agree or not, but like, is the purpose for guest spots so you can get connected to them? The focus should always be Sam and Dean. Guest spots are simply there to help propel the story for that week.
Correct, but I think it's just a reflection on my jaded personality because I see somebody and I'm like, all right, this guy's got 5 minutes. I'm just like, everyone's gonna die.
I mean, let's look at iconic characters in the past from times gone by. Ellen and Joe. I didn't give 2 shits about them until maybe the second or third time I've seen them. That's Bobby, I was like, who's this crotchety guy from Deadwood? I mean, I didn't care about him until 3 or 4 episodes in. It takes time to care about guest spots. Very seldom. Mark Shepard might be the only one. And Kane.
Because we were like, Kane right off the bat.
What were we doing?
You want to share with the class?
Oh, you want me to do that again? Kane walks in.
Apparently Kane has 2 dicks.
2 dicks?
Yeah. One.
Jesus.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's got 2 big ones. Like
I named him Cain and Abel.
Yeah. One's dead, the other one's alive.
I beat the left one more because his name's Abel.
Oh, damn.
Oh my God.
But you're right, Mike. I think
God liked that side better. Made me insanely jealous.
Hey, make sure you beat that other dick more.
And what I mean by liking better, it means he gave that side 2 inches bigger.
Oh.
So do you like average the size of your 2 penises? So you just say, oh yeah, I got a 10-incher.
Yeah.
It's like,
who cares? You're dual wielding at that point. They'll want to see just to see if you're full of shit.
I just wonder, because I always wonder about that.
I wouldn't mind having that X-Men power.
Just have two penises?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's an X-Men power specifically.
Well, would you want that power, or would you just want to be Mr. Fantastic? You could just stretch your ding dong.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? Anyways, but no, I think
You have sex without having to get up off the couch.
yeah, just your dick just stretches.
Yeah, that's a disease.
That's not good. No,
That's horrifying.
you're right though, Mike. Like those characters it took a while to get used to them. I mean, except for Kane. Kane was the only X factor in
Kane
that.
and Crowley.
Yeah, those are the only two X factors in that entire thing. But everyone else, it took a while to really get used to that character. I mean, hell, we didn't even know if we were going to be into like Jack at all right off the bat. So
Right.
I think
there's a difference between some of those characters that, okay, maybe there's going to be potential here when we come back to them, and characters that you can kind of see, all right, this person's going to die real quick, you know. But we had some good lore, a lot of stuff that broached a lot of questions moving forward.
And wasn't that kind of the takeaway for this
Yeah,
episode?
I think it really was.
Yeah.
For me, it was all the untapped possibilities that this episode opened up. Whether it was the mythological magic vault or the Gorgon tooth, something as simple as that.
those were cool.
Sam nerding out about that. Dean's comedic portrayal in this episode was all great.
Yeah.
But as first, we're going to get into some news, which is Danielle Ackles has been cast in a recurring role on Supernatural.
Ooh. Damn. Back at it again with the Ackles.
Danielle Ackles is set to guest star in Supernatural
Exactly.
as Sister Joe in the later part of the 13th season on the CW's hit demon hunting drama.
Dean's going to hit his own wife.
Oh, wow.
I know it. It's happening.
Sister Joe is described as a well-known faith healer whose good works attract the attention of someone very, very bad, Lucifer.
Uh-huh.
The question she will have to face is whether Lucifer will kill her or if he has bigger plans for her. Her first appearance will be in episode 13, Devil's Bargain. Eccles has joined the list of guest stars for this record season that include Christian Keys, Jeffrey Vincent Praise.
This is great. He has to read a bunch of names.
Oh, Jesus. Keith S.
Can we zoom in on
Zarabaka.
Okay, yeah.
Yadira Guvera Prip.
Why you
Clark-
helping? Why you helping about?
I'm passing the torch on this one.
I had to help him on those. You can keep going now.
I tapped in Clark Bacco, as well as the return of David Hayden Jones, Osric Chow, Lorette Devine, Brianna Buckmaster, Catherine Newton, Catherine Rumdeen, and Kim Rhodes.
I'm pleading to the CW executives and the casting departments, please, for the sake of Thomas Callie and the
Just
show,
give us shitty
please
names.
start casting white people with like the basic names
John
of Smith.
Or
Joe David.
Yeah.
Or have these articles have it phonetically so that I can read.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like,
Can you imagine,
they start doing it phonetically? It's
I
like
think I did a fair amount.
Keith
all right on that
Zarabaka
one.
would have destroyed you in phonetic.
I needed Ryan to tap in for 2 out of like 10. That's pretty good.
Thomas, you had things set up for you phonetically, and you still
fucked it up.
That's true. Fair enough. I still think I did pretty good there. I only tapped Ryan in for 2 of those.
Yeah.
He did. That was better than normal.
Now, I'm sure you guys saw her casting announcement via Twitter the day it happened. And I think, Ryan, you're right. There's going to be some kind of romantic element between her and Jensen himself.
Hell yeah.
It seems like the only logical choice to go with.
Is that picture old of her? That's not a current picture, is it?
Why?
Because I want to go look. Don't judge me.
I'm asking
You should
about
know by now.
casting and what could that mean for the story. You're like, yeah, but how does she look now? This is an older photo.
That look like, oh my goodness.
Look up her dating profile.
Her dating profile.
I could beat up
She's on
Jensen.
Match.com.
I could beat up Jensen.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, okay, so you're going to beat up Jensen, and suddenly Danielle is going to be like,
she's like,
I've been waiting for someone to beat my husband
That's how it works. Come on, guys.
What is this, caveman?
Yeah. I hit him over the head with a club, and then I hit her over the head with a club.
I swear to God, Ryan was born in the wrong century. Like, he should
The wrong millennia.
Yeah, he should.
If he was a caveman, he'd be the talk of the fucking town. Of course, it'd be grunts. Exactly. Exactly. Because it wouldn't be 1700s where you had to be sophisticated and wear,
Thomas.
clothes.
Thomas, shut up, Thomas.
But if he had to just wear a loincloth from a dead animal he bludgeoned to death that morning and then drag someone, willing or not, to the cave, Ryan, he'd be a pretty popular guy.
Hell yeah. Don't hate, Thomas. Don't hate that you would be the guy picking berries. I'd be the one out scavenging and killing.
Be the guy picking berries.
I'd be the one inventing fire compared to your ass.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Prometheus.
As long as you didn't have to spell it in order to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. That's why it's 2 syllables.
No. Anyways,
I think honestly, if you combine all of our brain power in one room, we might equal the smarts of one human being.
Yes, one human being.
One well-rounded individual.
Average human being.
I think that's why if the three of us combine our powers,
our powers combined, we can be average.
Yay! Hooray!
Oh man,
we were terrible.
Well, that's not news to anybody.
That's true.
I'm interested to see what a faith healer can do being brought back to the show and what her role would be with Lucifer, because
I agree.
I don't know if we've seen a faith healer with actual powers. I mean, I'm talking out my ass a little bit because I don't remember. I remember Faith in season 1, but that was somebody who had gained control of controlling a Reaper.
Yeah.
It was an entirely different concept.
Yeah.
If she has true faith healing powers, does she channel something through heaven or God or some other mystic elements? Is it enchantments? Is it tomes? Is it runes? Or is this something else entirely? And what kind of power does she have for Lucifer to want to seek her help?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we know he's depowered right now. Could it possibly help him in that way? Is she going to be a tool to try and find Jack the Nephilim? I'm interested. I guarantee we're going to see some romantic play between her and Jensen.
And now, what Thomas means is this.
You're not
watching
the
video.
No cameras for
now,
that.
now you are.
Well, God damn it.
Haha, see, Thomas?
Jerk. I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I know there has been a lot of speculation about reasons why Sam and Dean have not had love interests for the past, I don't know how many years.
You told me this the other day.
And I know things got really crazy when on set, when Jared and his now wife were going through their scenes. And I remember at one point the director was like saying cut, and they kept going at it. And that's when like kind of the red flags before it was public,
HR got upset.
And people said, wait a second. That's when people started to think, okay, are they together? You know, what's going on? And I know since then they've wanted to, and I understand that if you're a close knit family, I could imagine it's
difficult.
A lot of actors like to say, oh, it's just acting. It's not difficult to make out with somebody. But then you have those actors who are very open and honest, and they say, yes, it happens. You get aroused.
Dude,
you can't help it. You're a human being. So if that happens, I can understand why perhaps they don't want to always do that. And now let's say they do want to give Jensen or Dean a love interest. This is something that could work and not rain havoc on
his family
potentially
life.
On their relationship, because it does happen. That's why relationships don't last very long in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I don't know how actors like control that, because I'll tell you what, like if I was making out with hot chicks like that all the time, I'd be like rock hard. Dude.
You would be that, or you'd be Weinstein. Yeah.
Or he'd have a club.
Well, wow. That's actually, that's a little accurate, but I wouldn't be Weinstein. Don't call me Weinstein.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Don't call me Weinstein. Just let me use my club.
Yeah. Well, there's consent.
Better.
There's consent with a club. I don't hit her from the back.
There could be. As long as she sees you, you have consent. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
no, we make the eye contact. No. There's an eye contact consent.
Okay, like general rule of okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's like foreplay, dude.
Yeah.
I like
you can get read.
That's like foreplay.
I like the rough stuff, dude.
I get what he's saying. There's a read, there's safe words. Yeah. See
the Flugenheimler. Say Flugenheimler, then you pull out the triple dildo.
Yeah. I was
safe words are usually meant to stop something, not, ratchet it up by 3 degrees.
I was with him until that point.
He didn't get that reference.
No.
It's all right. Euro Trip. Good movie.
Anyway, good Lord. If we have anybody still listening to the show at this point, I think you're right, Mike. I think that makes it easier for family life in general. And it is true that that's why so many relationships in Hollywood don't last. You're human nature or you're an animal like Ryan. But either way, it causes difficulty.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with her as a character for the story.
Have you ever seen her in anything? Because there's
not to my knowledge.
No, I that's what I was going to look up is like what she's been in.
People in the chat room or on Twitter hit us up at Crossroads SPN and let me know if she is a solid actor. I mean, can I see there's a lot.
I'm going to look at her IMDb right now.
there's a lot of excitement, but I don't know if it's just because it's his wife or if she's an actress, because I don't care about none of that other stuff.
She was in Harold and Kumar.
Can she act? That's all I care about. Is she a good an actor? And if she is, then so be it. Let's bring it on.
She was in Harold and Kumar, so you know she's good.
Oh.
I don't know what she played in Harold.
Anyways, so what else?
With that article, that's all it has, just that she's been cast. Hopefully, I think the biggest thing for me, as it always is what does that have to do with the story? And with Lucifer being involved, I'm really curious to see what he wants from her. He's going through Castiel. He's going to go through whatever means he has necessary to get a hold of Jack. But he also is very privy to the alternate universe Michael problem.
Yeah.
And without his own powers, he's going to have to be a little bit more savvy and manipulative than he traditionally is, which says a lot. Because usually he just goes with that. He doesn't even use brute force until he has to. So I'm excited for that.
I am too, because there seems to be a lot of moving parts. And this is something we discussed the last couple of weeks, but there's a lot of moving parts. And now for this season, and now they're introducing this faith healer. And where is she going to fit in? What's her point? And
what are her powers? What lore does this open up, if any?
Yeah, and that's the exciting part, is that the fact that she's coming in, she's going to have a multiple episode arc, and you combine that with the Lucifer, the Jack, the Castiel, the Ketch, Asmodeus, the demons he wants to bring back from hell in the cages, the Shadim. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And so far, those moving parts are running insane.
Smoothly right now.
Very smoothly. So we shall see, right?
Right. I'm excited. Something else to be excited about. We have our first look at Wayward Sisters with a couple of screenshots released via Twitter. One of which shows Kaya, the new character, along with Sheriff Donna and Claire. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, God.
We also, a couple of the screenshots show Kim Rhodes and Donna training patients, and I believe Kara in this scene, or in this shot, on firearms.
Yeah.
Shotguns, pistols, basic target practice. So we've talked about this before at length, both through the Patreon show and through our own show here, about them having to be trained, that this has got to be like a semblance of a X-Men school in some ways. You're going to have to be prepared for all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it definitely shows that they're giving them some abilities. And we know that the backdoor pilot episode is the mid-season premiere. So 2 episodes from now.
Yeah, we're going to get that pretty soon.
And we see another shot here has Sam and Dean in a blue-hued screenshot. I'm assuming that's going to be just from wherever they're located.
Yeah.
Which to me screams not fucking good. Like, that doesn't even look like a nighttime shot. That looks like an alternate reality. That looks like purgatory.
Yeah,
that looks like the alternate universe.
It did look different to me. It looked like something from the other universe. Also, too, if you notice, I think it's Dean is holding an angel blade, so obviously they're under distress.
And Kaya isn't gonna just be in the mid-season opener along with the rest of the Wayward Sisters.
Coming up next.
She's gonna be in next week's episode, so they're already setting it up.
Mike, what do you think about this shot with Sam and Dean with the blue hue? Do you think that could be an alternate universe?
Possibly. It has to be. Or Kaya finds a way to push them into her dream world somehow.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. It'll be cool to find out. I'm actually really excited. I'm stoked, and that kind of makes me nervous because I don't want to be stoked, because I don't want to be let down. I don't want to be disappointed, but there is so much hype on this.
Yeah.
Way more than there ever was for Bloodlines. And
good and bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good and bad thing. Not that there's been bad hype.
I'm hoping this hype isn't manipulated to look bigger than it is. Like, because social media knows how to blow numbers up.
Yeah.
And it's not always the accurate depiction of the enthusiasm.
I don't want to be told that it's going to be the next greatest thing and everyone's excited, only for them to cancel it because there weren't enough ratings.
Right. Exactly.
I don't want them to lie to me through social media demand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that would suck. Especially if I put all this attention and hype into it and they do a good job, but then the numbers aren't there.
Yeah.
That'll be devastating.
Right.
But you can check those images out on Twitter or on Nerdist.com. They have the screenshot from Samantha Highfill, or at Sam Highfill on Twitter. I don't
know why.
What?
I just think it's funny that you're trying to hook them up with a plug. Hey, yeah, you follow.
No, just if people want to see those images.
Oh, okay.
That's all. I don't give a fuck about going to the Nerdist. I say don't go there. Stay here. But if you want to see those images, you can.
I love Thomas.
I do too. Yeah.
You could tell when he's not sure if he should say something because he starts like stopping.
No, actually, I had to bring up the tab again. I went away from it. So,
all right.
Last little bit of news is more of a discussion point, and I don't know. I
want to
save
it. Let's save it.
Save
I was
it
going to say I want to talk about
it.
this at length later.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Just skip that for right now.
Let's save that for when we come back from break. And it's just pertaining to the reboot, as some people on the internet are calling it, of Charlie 2.0 with this new character, Alice. But I say we save it for our discussion.
Yeah, because I have some strong opinions, I guess, on that. But
yes, you do.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back and get into our discussion about Episode 8, The Scorpion and the Frog.
Whiskey bottles and brand new cars, oak tree in my way. There's too much coke and too much.
The Rain Man Show. The Rain Man Show.
I've never had that issue.
Andrew, you're also autistic.
Sure.
And you don't know how to read human behavior. It's true.
No, I understand.
So
that.
you probably
but
think, oh gosh, golly, this guy really liked me. Meanwhile, he wants to curb stomp you on your way out.
I've never had that interaction. Everybody, it's
because they don't know your schedule. Once they know your schedule, you're going to get curb stomped.
It's every other day for 3 days, and then it's a 2-day rest. All right. But I've never had that interaction. Like whenever I approach somebody and I say, "Hey, here's some resources that might give you a better."
Resources? What do you give him? Like a? What do you like?
Let me pull up my bodybuilding.com account. And I'll show it to you, bro.
You're offering books?
Do you like? Do you pin like a link to Pinterest and you like send it over to them?
No, I'm just like, hey, here's some. If you're looking for a routine or not routine, if you're looking to fix your or work on your form,
I've actually panned a few great workout routines on my Pinterest. Hit me up.
He goes over to the guy that's like fucking 260, 6'5", just ripped. Like, would you like to try my routine?
Yeah.
You know when you squat, you got to break parallel, right?
I'm like, hey, bro,
with me.
Oh my god!
Andrew, you're not helping anybody at the gym.
Oh man!
I made some good friends. All right, that's all I'm saying about it.
Treadmill. He's got treadmill friends.
Like, if I didn't know any better, I would think we were in 1930s and you were living in an attic with Anne Frank recently. That's how thin you are. You're malnutritioned, and you're trying to get.
Oh my god, I'm crying! Stop!
For more Rain Man, visit RainManShow.com.
The Crossroads videocast is here. Retrospective reviews, discussions, theories, and geek out. Same show, just more of it. Head over to patreon.com/RainManDigital to pledge.
Have you ever wanted something so bad that you do just about anything for it? Well, that's exactly how we feel about you. That's right. AdamandEve.com wants you so bad. We're giving you 10 free gifts with your first order. You heard me right. That's 10 free gifts to spice up your love life. First, you'll get a sexy surprise for her. Second, an adventurous toy for him. And third, a little something we know you'll both enjoy. Plus, you'll get 6 full-length adult movies on DVD. And number 10, free shipping on your entire order. That's 10 free gifts for you shy types who've never tried Adam and Eve before. Just go to AdamandEve.com and select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy, a sexy piece of lingerie, or anything you desire. Just enter offer code DEAL30 at checkout and you'll get all 10 free gifts, including free shipping. That's offer code DEAL30. That's DEAL30 at AdamandEve.com.
Previously on Supernatural: The Crossroads.
Now, the biggest element that nobody, I think, saw coming this episode was the return of Mr. Ketch.
Yeah.
Dude, that threw me the fuck off.
Which was a little bit, there's been a lot of discussion about this because was it done properly? Was it silly that it happened?
No, he's charming as fuck.
Was it believable?
I'd do him.
I would too.
I think everybody would.
Catch me if you can, Mr. Ketch.
Oh my dude, I am really bummed that the fucking cameras were not on for that.
Oh my god.
The move that Mike just did in here was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Wow. He's spirit fingered and everything.
Yeah.
Oh god, that was
Mr.
fantastic.
Ketch brought that out of you. I think the next time we go to a con and Mr. Ketch is there, that thing
You got to
just
say
did
that to him.
that has to be in a photo op. That has to be done.
Spirit fingers?
Yes, you got to be like
Mr. Catch.
like, yeah. Oh God, yeah. He's gonna look at you like you're so stupid.
Why the fuck?
Not if I'm paying $90.
That's very true.
He's gonna lick those spirit fingers.
Ooh, look at that.
Welcome back, everyone. Supernatural: The Crossroads. Now we're going to get to our discussion about Season 13, Episode 8, The Scorpion and the Frog. Ryan, can you give us a synopsis, please?
Yes, I sure as shit can. Sorry. A Crossroad demon offers Sam and Dean a spell to locate Jack in exchange for their assistance on an unusual heist. This one was directed by Robert Singer and written by Meredith Glynn.
Now, this one had a whole lot of different things. And I think for me, the biggest element of this episode was new content introduced, new characters, new lore, in a way, new monsters that were thrown into it, new gadgets and abilities. It had a whole bunch of stuff wrapped around a Ocean's 11 style heist mixed with some comedy.
Yep.
It was a bit of a different animal than we're usually used to for Supernatural and for Monster of the Week episodes, but it wasn't too different for Meredith Glynn. Personally, I felt like she's done a lot of comedic bits. She likes that element. She likes working with Jensen Ackles, giving him the ability to do things a little bit funnier. That it seems to be they have a good rapport in that way.
This is definitely her best one in terms of comedic value.
Yeah. I think so.
For sure.
Yeah,
I mean, because I think most of us hated the Hitler one.
Yeah.
Regarding Dean was pretty funny.
Yeah, regarding Dean was pretty
also
good.
sad, like strangely sad at the same time.
That was an awkward sadness, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something that Meredith has done with all her episodes, except maybe this one, where she mixes a little bit of a dark reality as well.
Right. And I think this is a great example to people who ever believe Supernatural doesn't have, it's going to run out of stuff eventually, or there's not enough lore to continue going on. And then you have something like this episode where you have this guy who has this fortress of solitude, literally.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Weapons and artifacts and magic and monster fossils and remains in ways that we hadn't seen. Again, like the Gorgon tooth or a basilisk fang.
Yeah, that was
cool.
cool.
We heard basilisk before?
Yes.
I say we did.
I think we heard that one, but we hadn't heard Gorgon to my knowledge.
Yeah, to this day, I see people on social media that have at one point watched Supernatural, and they'll make random comments where they'll post something and they'll say, wow, it's been on for 13 years. They should have ended after, season 7. They've ran out of ideas. And this
Not
episode,
if you've been watching the show.
Exactly. And this episode alone shows you how, with a show like this that's so lore driven, it's almost impossible to run out of story ideas. Take, for example, an episode that will air quotes here, deem a throwaway episode. And yet with a throwaway episode, they managed to deliver something very cool, like Luther. And everything that surrounds that character. We've said this before in the past, Thomas, where we can take little things like this and we can easily write 10 episodes based just on Luther, and it would be interesting as hell.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a shut-in who's immortal, who has a beef with the demon, who's a collector of rare antiquities, and he's got the greatest supernatural proof vault that we've ever seen. Fort Knox is like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you think that you couldn't tell an immense amount of stories with that character? That setup alone. I mean, we've had just from small things, and again, things that we touched on in previous seasons that we could easily go back to. I mean, the fact that you have a Gorgon tooth and a basilisk fang reminds me immediately of the dragons from season 6. Something that got one episode that isn't really touched on beyond that you could go into more content with.
Well, I mean, how many stories or backstories or, things could you do about what's going on and what the antiquities that he has in his house alone? I mean, let's be honest. He essentially
has
a
house of horrors and booby traps.
He has his own bunker.
Yeah.
But it just has booby traps and has cool antiquities everywhere. There's so many things you could do with this character. And I think he was pretty interesting right off the bat.
And I think that's the only downfall of the episode is that you killed somebody with
so much potential.
How do you kill a character off with so much story potential?
Mm-hmm.
That was
so much story potential. Like,
makes no sense.
It's a built-in.
It's a shame, and that's truly one of the biggest to me marks off on this episode was that why would you get rid of that character, especially when it was something that has already kind of been done. I can never remember the character's name, but in the Werther Project, the guy who had the first blade in his own little pocket dimension house, who used to be a mental letters.
Yeah,
you kill these characters,
Magdo something.
Yeah, you kill these characters that have a wealth of knowledge and opportunities for story, for tablets to be locked away in their vaults, to have any kind of number of things be possible in the confines of their house or their property or their safe. And yet they got rid of such an interesting character. It is a shame. And we'll come back to that in a little bit. But because Ryan, one thing you said that I think is paramount is that it's not just the fact that he had all these things in his house that would have given us a bunch of different storylines, that he's in his own bunker.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, especially with where the characters were earlier. And they make a strong point about saying that about Dean's personality at the end of this episode. Where he was earlier this season is not far away from where Luther was in this episode. This angry, bitter, violent older person locked away in their own little bunker of knowledge, safe haven. The rest of the world can die. I don't care. I'm only after one thing.
Yep.
You could draw a lot of parallels to Dean from where Luther is. If Cass did not return, that easily could have been where Dean ends up in 20 years.
Yeah, and that's where Meredith Glenn's talent really shines, where she brings that dark reality to something a little bit more lighthearted like this episode, but then you get that dim reflection of potential future where you say, well, look, if Dean didn't start going this way after Castiel came back, he could easily be this deranged old man who becomes a hermit, intent on only seeking out revenge, staying to himself in a warded bunker where he never does anything.
The only difference between Luther and Dean was that Dean's person that he cared about came back.
Yeah.
Luther's son never did.
Yes.
If Luther's son had come back, he easily could have gone off on a different tangent in life.
Yeah.
If Castiel had never returned, Dean was almost guaranteed to end up in a similar situation.
So if Dean's lover never came back, he
would never have had a second mixtape.
Yeah,
you always need a part two. A volume two.
He had the rebound with Crowley though, which I loved that little
was a rebound,
bait line where it says, I said after Crowley, I swore no more demons, right as he walks past a barbershop called Bang Town.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think that was intentional?
I think that was absolutely intentional.
I mean,
why do the writers fuck with people like that?
Because they're assholes.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Because it's something that I think if we wanted to, it's something Ryan would do.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna fuck with you guys.
Yeah,
it's something we would do.
So
why wouldn't I believe they'd do the same thing?
It would be better if it was Oral Town. That was
it's like a dentist office.
Yeah, Oral Town is dentist office.
Okay, that would be funny. Actually.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Bangtown was a haircut.
Yeah, it was a hair salon. I mean, that was solid.
Yeah,
should have had Oral Town next door.
Jesus. No, but that's where Dean would have ended up had Castiel never returned. And I think the idea that Luther was this shut-in who built a mass amount of weapons to continue to eventually fight Barthelmess one day. Although I don't get why he didn't kill the guy necessarily.
Yeah.
But I could see Dean staying in the bunker, amassing weapons, trying to find ways to put Jack down or whatever came across his doorstep.
Why didn't who kill who?
Why did Luther not kill Barthelmess?
Because he has a hellhound after him, right? Technically?
Yeah, his house is warded for all that. Then.
When you kill one Crossroads demon,
another demon will just get it.
Contract transfers, right?
Yeah, so if he has this Crossroads demon's bones, then I would never kill that guy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is something that Meredith Glynn is, like you said, Mike, has been very good about, is making parallels to where Dean's future could be. It's almost like she is thinking about the future for these characters, like the long-term future.
And that's really what you should be doing.
Isn't that what you do when you introduce a character anyways? Like if you know it's going to be a character or like, you're like, okay, even if they get rid of him, I still need to think about long term if the fans like this character, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, oh man, this character might be liked. Let me think about where we could take this character.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you come up with bloodlines.
Oh,
that's true.
Well, not just that. I mean, the idea of where do we have these characters, and ultimately, will Dean be where is Dean when he's 50? I think Meredith's
Hopefully
one of the
eating
writers
pie.
that's thinking about that.
And these are already questions that are being posed, even last year when they're talking about their legacy.
Yeah.
And questioning whether they're doing the right things or the wrong things. So to bring an episode like this and draw those parallels with Luther, I think works. However, I do feel that was the point, but I'm not sure if the original first draft of the script had this point a little more as a more of a tangible
Fleshed out
element.
idea.
Maybe it was a little fleshed out a little bit better, because I felt like somewhere in the second draft that purpose got lost because it became a little murky. I felt like at the beginning that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to state the parallels. Like, look, this is what could happen.
Yeah.
You have one person who decided to go this way and the other that decided to go this way. And Supernatural writers have always done those warnings where they show the actual person, usually a guest spot, that made the other decision. So this is nothing new, but I do feel like maybe it got lost in a rewrite and they decided to focus more on the comedic aspect as well. Maybe that was Robert Singer's call that he made because he's the director.
Perhaps.
He's the big shot swinging dick on set. So maybe that was his call saying, hey, let's focus more on the comedic side. Who knows?
It could have been a concept as well that was written out in the outline before they started filming and writing out all the scripts.
Yeah, that was kind of the point of the episode.
Why else have that connection that it has to be a person who's returned from hell?
Exactly.
And the fact that we don't find out how the fuck he did that drives me nuts right now. Frankly, I want to know how the hell Luther got out. What did he do for that? And that's where I want to know so badly more about his past, his collection, his wares, what he's seen, what he's been through. And I think that is something that, earlier on we'll have Dean in this really dark place in seasons 1 or in episodes 1 through 5 or so. Or maybe if Castiel was planned not to return until much later. And this is where Dean could see himself going if he isn't careful, if he doesn't find something to drag him out of this dark place. I think you're right, Mike. I think in a first draft, it may have been more deliberate. And then it kind of got turned into comedic. Well, Castiel's back. If we're going to do these first 5 episodes like that, then this can be an idea that will just stick here.
And we already know a lot of times these stories are not written in order. Maybe this was originally supposed to be episode 5.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah, and perhaps they decide to get rid of some of that dark elements and focus more on the comedy side, especially since we've had such a very dark first quarter of the opening season. So again, maybe it's just a showrunner call and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's lighten this episode up just a bit."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it didn't bother me any.
No, it didn't bother me.
I thought it was well done. Like they inserted the jokes and the levity when it needed to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Like you just throw it in there for no fucking reason. It makes no sense. But
no, I didn't have a problem with it. I just felt like they were trying to say something and it wasn't quite clear. Like it was just coming, just the tip of the iceberg.
It felt like you could see the other story that it had been buried beneath the surface. Like there could have been more with Luther. There could have been more of a parallel. Not that what they had was terrible. Just I feel like there was more there when it was conceptualized.
Yeah. Something a little more deeper. It felt like it could have been.
Yeah. And you're right. We still do get to have some funny moments with these characters. And we get another new character, which for me was the most interesting, was the demon Barthamus, the new Hell Crossroads demon.
I love how Thomas can pronounce all the fictitious names.
But he can't get real people's names.
I don't know why, dude.
Without a problem. Have you noticed that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones characters. The supernatural characters. He can pronounce them easily, but you throw like some ethnic name at him.
And he's like,
McLeod. Smith.
McLeod. McLeod. Like, come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls. Bitch.
No, we see the Crowley replacement in some ways, the new Crossroads demon, Barthamus, and we learn a little bit about the inner workings of hell at this moment. We know Asmodeus came in as the ringleader. He's going to take the throne.
Maddie wants to know who's Luthor.
Oh God, yeah, that's pretty much me. We know Asmodeus came in, took the throne, is running hell, but we find out through Barthamus that it is not a complete, everyone's with Asmodeus, all of hell's in line, finally, kind of thing. Which I'm a little bit surprised by, but I like at the same time. It's very much like the demons to have different factions. They don't tell each other everything. I mean, Lilith and Ruby had their own separate agenda from all the rest of hell in order to get the final seal broken, in order to trick Sam and Dean. Azazel was perhaps the only time that there was somebody who really controlled everything. But even then, we know that Lilith had an immense amount of power, and some of the demons called him a fanatic.
Yeah.
So we know it's nice to see these different politics come to light, because it makes it feel a little bit more true to demon nature, that they don't really give a shit about each other. They're only out for themselves. And I know some people, perhaps, I know from Reddit, some people had a problem with Barthamus. They thought he was too much like Crowley, that he was a surrogate stand-in, but I felt like he was just different enough with how he did things.
I didn't get Crowley. I mean, just because you have an aristocratic archetype,
he's got a beard,
it doesn't mean it doesn't mean he's Crowley. And I think a lot of people draw conclusions like that because it's easy, and and it makes a lot of sense that people would draw conclusions, because you're dealing with a show that borrows similar traits. And I'm not saying they don't have a bad habit of doing that. They do that. A lot of the women, for example, Ruby, for a long time, all had the chip on their shoulder. Had like an attitude, like, what's up? I'm a badass. They were kind of like cool, casual chicks. Yeah. And I think it worked for the time, and it probably works now. But I want to say around
it a little bit there.
Yeah.
And character pool.
When Carver took over, you had a different type of woman that kind of changed it up a bit. And I think every showrunner has their go-tos of what type of archetypes they like to write within. So if someone likes that aristocratic type, you can do a lot with that. It's fun to write for those type of characters. So I don't think he's necessarily Crowley.
No, and that's the thing, is I thought he was just different enough to work.
And wouldn't Crossroad demons be like that? Wouldn't they be
They're all
charismatic
there to be,
and I'm going to wine and dine you, and you're going to sell my soul, and you're going to sell me your soul?
I'm not going to sell my soul to Azazel. He's
scary.
Out to fuck me over.
I'd run away.
But Crowley, Barthamus, maybe I could see,
the first Crossroads demon, I'd sell my soul to her.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd sell a lot. I'd sell a lot of things to her. I jizzed. Hold on, let me check.
Ugh.
I'm not wet.
So. You have that camera. Show us with the camera.
All right, here, hold on.
No,
here we go.
Oh
my God. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'd have sold a lot to her. More than my soul.
Oh my God.
Wow. No, I think you're right, because I would not believe that the same personality as Azazel would get as many deals, whereas Crowley, Barthamus, the original Crossroads demon, these are people that the way in which they present themselves, how it's what you want, you should sign this contract, very much works. And I think he's different enough than Crowley, because the way I saw it, Crowley is the chess player. He's gonna bend the rules or work within the ramifications of the game in order to get what he wants, because he thinks so many levels ahead. Barthamus, to me, was the guy who cheats at poker.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a fuck if you find out. He was much more of a brute. He shows that here. Crowley, to me, always thought ahead. And I think the greatest example of that is Cain and the Mark of Cain in the first Blade, that entire element. In this, Barthamus, it didn't go his way, so he just threw down his cards, pulled the pistol, and said, all right, you're going to do it how I want you guys to. Now give me the bones, And without him having a British accent, I also think that helped. He was smug and arrogant, but he was different enough to me because of how he handled the situation, because he has people who are indebted to him, working for him to achieve his own personal goals outside of Asmodeus, outside of hell, and presumably, when Crowley was around, outside of Crowley's goals. Having a new character with a separate agenda is interesting to me. And again, I felt like it was another wheel on this wagon that seemed to work just fine. it moved forward.
Yeah, I agree. And also it was a nice way to clue the audience in on the fact that hell isn't all running smooth.
Yeah. They're all out for themselves. They've never really
They're
given a
demons.
shit. Yeah.
The only demons that had some type of honor or loyalty were the extremists that believed in the coming of Lucifer. If you remember
Azazel and Meg even.
Well, some of the followers. If you remember when Dean was it Dean or was it Sam that was trapped with a demon?
Dean was trapped with a demon in the city that had like gone all lustful and sinful.
Yeah, and I always loved that episode because it showed a different side of demons and how there was more
showed faith.
Yeah, it showed that there was more to them than just simply, hey, we're evil, we're going to possess people. It showed that they had a belief structure.
Well, I liked it because it personified the fact that they were humans.
Right.
Humans had a faith. Some of them, they find reasons to believe in whatever it would be. So that does not seem like it would change that much.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you became a demon and you're like, oh shit, there is an afterlife.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh God.
I may have fucked up, but I can make it right. You know. So I thought Barthamus was cool, and it was a shame too for him, in my opinion, that he was gone so quick. I thought he would have been a great new villain or potential untrustworthy ally at times.
I mean, you don't have to always kill people and bring them back. You can leave it open-ended and just say, hey, we may see you in 5 or 6 episodes. That way you... And I've said
it doesn't have to be closed immediately.
And I've said this before in the past with other supernatural characters that they've killed off so fast. Like, you don't always need to kill them, and you don't always need to bring them around. However, have your stockpile of characters that we're familiar with so that when we see them again, there is no time that needs to be wasted on building up who they are. We already know who they are, and we can hit the ground running because we already know what this character is about. And each episode that they may pop in is just that little bit more of character development that we get. And Supernatural has such a habit of just killing people. It's nice to just keep people in the background. Even if we don't see them for 2 or 3 episodes or 2 or 3 seasons, bring them back. A character that's worked for the betterment of Supernatural in a lot of ways. And they're getting a spinoff is Kim Rhodes. She has never been the focus of any season, but she's been around. They've kept her in the background. And
it means that much more when she shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, the dinner scene where they're all interacting like a family is hilarious, and it works because, like you said, we've had that character already established. We didn't have to introduce a new person that episode to where we would all be asking, why the fuck are they having dinner here? Why is this even happening? The fact that Kim Rhodes has been around that long allowed us to buy into the entire concept.
Yeah.
So like Luther, this was also, to me, another opportunity where, whether it was, I mean, he knew exactly where to go to find a spell from King Solomon's day to find a Nephilim. What else does Barthamus know?
Yeah.
What else does he... I mean, Crowley had a whole fucking vault of relics and powerful items. He can't be the only one. He's smart and savvy, but he's not the only person who would have thought of something like that.
It must be tough. And in fact, I know it's tough, being a writer and writing these characters and saying, wow, this character could be really cool. And they're dead. 45 pages later, they're dead.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
And like Luther, I feel like that was a big missed opportunity for additional things, especially when the season is moving forward with Jack as the main center point, having all these other factions, who want something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more of a dynamic.
It just seems like it's this huge race, and throwing Barthamus or Luther even into it. I mean,
an amazing race.
Luther or Jack brought back Castiel from the empty. Why couldn't Jack bring back Luther? Would Luther be after his powers for his son to come back? You never know. I mean, it just felt like a missed opportunity there. And we see him set up the Ocean's 11 smash and grab character setup for the entire plot of this episode. The idea of having a heist, did you guys like that, or did you find it silly? Did it work for you?
I liked it. And the reason I liked it is I think it added levity, and it also added a cool kind of layer to the episode. It was like, okay, well, how are they going to there's got to be something interesting about how they're going to get the spell back. So I thought that was cool that the way they did that. I didn't have any problem with it.
It's fun. If you're gonna do a throwaway episode or a Monster of the Week type episode, why not give us something cool? Dress
it a little bit different.
Dress it up snazzy. Give us a genre driven episode and make it fun. Why not? I mean, these are the episodes where you can explore those types of things and have some fun on set rather than focusing on the normal or the mundane. And you got to think that the writers, as well as the cinematographer Serge and the directors, the entire team is probably like, it probably becomes mundane that they're doing a lot of the similar things. Whereas with this gives them a chance to kind of flex their creative muscles a bit and relax and cut loose.
What I liked about that too is that we know Jared and Jensen have such a wide range of acting skills, giving them the place in which they could do something a little bit different. I mean, I remember the one with Bella where way back when Dean's dressed up and they go out to the formal black tie event in order to steal the artifact. I mean, we have some cool
steal
elements.
Bella's heart, you mean?
Oh, oof. She's so hot.
Ryan's off there writing another page of fan fiction.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you hear that typing at the keyboard real quick? No, I like the giving them a different environment in which to play around with their characters. Seeing Jensen get to be comedic through this episode was great. I loved his spiders bit. I think, honestly, that was my favorite bit with the safe cracking.
Yeah.
Where I know you were a huge fan of when he gets his hand actually stuck, as were most people on the internet, but I just liked his trying to rationalize out why he shouldn't have to do this.
Yeah.
It's like there could be spiders in there, or knives, or spiders. And the whole, what if I just cut myself and put it on a piece of paper and throw it in there?
It's time for some Trivial Pursuit, Thomas.
Ooh.
It's time for some Trivial Pursuit.
It's time for me to read better than Thomas.
So who has the questions?
I'm getting them.
Yeah, we're just calm down there.
To Ryan.
Okay, so Thomas, this is a Trivial Pursuit courtesy of USAopoly. We're going to be asking people questions. Ryan is going to be doing the honors this evening.
Let me go ahead and shuffle these cards on the camera here.
Now, the way we're going to do this is we're not going to have anybody call in. You're going to have to get to the chat room.
If you're not,
You have to get to the chat room. And whoever is the fastest keystroker in the West will win.
Fastest stroker.
Whoever
strokes faster.
Yes.
And you could take that any way. That could mean like you actually
There's
have
only
a stroke.
prizes for one of those ways.
You basically have a stroke, like Thomas does when he reads someone's name.
Right.
Or
like when Ryan just reads.
So here's how it's gonna work. Okay, I've got the cards, shuffling them right now. Okay.
Why don't we give them 30 seconds? Take a little bit longer to shuffle, because head over to our Facebook page.
Okay.
If you don't know where our chat's at, you can either go to our Facebook page and find the chat room there, or you can go to RaymanDigitalMedia.com, scroll down, and on the right side it says chat room. Come chat with the Crossroads. Click on there. It's very easy to punch in your answer.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Okay, you guys got 30 seconds. That's about as long as I last, Maddie. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read the question, and literally the first person that I see in the chat room that pops up with the answer.
It's whoever, it'll be marked.
I know, but I'm just saying that's how I'm doing it.
Am I rolling the dice for the category?
You're rolling it for me. So,
all right.
No more commenting in the chat room.
Okay, Ryan. It is the pink tablet.
All right, pink tablet, which is I don't know.
Pink tablet.
Tablet. Yep.
I think it said tampon. Like,
all right, here we go.
Pink tampon.
Has that been 30 seconds?
Just
close.
about. Oh yeah.
Yeah, close enough. All right, here we go.
It's been like 90 seconds.
Here's the question. Who kills Uriel when the rogue angel tries to kill Castiel?
Oh. I think I know that one. Do you know that one, Ryan?
I do now because I looked the answer.
All right, read it one more time.
All right. Well, I'm watching the chat room.
Well, I'm
watching that. You're good.
Who kills Uriel when the rogue angel tries to kill Castiel? Get your Google Foo going.
Ooh.
Oh,
wow. Popping up.
Oh.
I know. It's LL.
Wait, hold on. Who's the first? What's the answer? What's the answer?
Anna is the answer. Guest LL.
Who's Guest LL?
I
just
have
says
no
LL
idea.
As a username.
All right. So Guest LL, please go to our Facebook, facebook.com/Supernatural The Crossroads, and post on our wall so we know that you are the LL in the chat room. For all I know, you could be LL Cool J.
Oh, that would be awesome. Holy shit.
You go, yeah, I'm a fan of Supernatural.
Dude, that would be
I love your guys' show.
I'm doing it and doing it well.
Doing it well. She was raised out in Brooklyn.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know that song. There's the answer right there.
All right, let's do one more.
Let's do one more? We give something else away here?
Yeah,
or is this
why
one
not?
for fun?
Let's do one more. Hold on.
All right, let me shuffle again.
Let me set the mood. Let me set the mood.
Ooh, give me some doing it well right now.
Let me set the mood. Here we go.
I never trust this.
Go ahead and roll the dice.
Roll that die. Ooh,
right. Purple, anti-possession.
All right, here we go.
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Let me get.
Right, so stupid.
All right, here we go. Here's the question. All right. Oh, you can almost see the answer there. That was dumb. Graveyard dirt.
He's not putting the answer in front of the camera.
Yeah, I did. Graveyard dirt, a black cat bone, and a photograph of the person wishing to make a deal are the ingredients required to summon what?
Oh,
that is so easy.
It's so easy
as hell.
That is so easy.
Let's see. I hope LL wins.
All right,
again.
let's
That'd be
see.
hilarious.
Let's see. Let's pause for a second.
Kinda horny, conventional methods of making love kinda bore me. I wanna knock your block off, get my rocks off, blow your socks off, make sure your G-spot's off.
All right,
do we give it to Jennifer?
I feel like that's
Jennifer's the first one, right?
I feel like
that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on. Let me check. Hold on.
I'll let you check.
I'll allow it.
So stupid.
So Jen is the winner.
Jen, Thomas, what's her name?
It says guest Jen.
No, but what's her name? You know who that is.
Jennifer Reedy.
No, Jennifer. Jennifer Reedy.
You want some more? Hello, Jennifer.
At least I don't have to club people.
That's about
doing it and doing it and
we all
doing
have
it well.
our strengths, Mike.
Yeah, yours is definitely not that.
Not last name phonetics.
All right, so we have 2 winners. That's good for today. We may do another one randomly. We'll see.
We'll
see if the Chuck and me decides is a good idea.
Oh, jeez.
I like how ever since we got this game, he's just personified himself as God.
When did you become God in our eyes?
When have I not personified myself as God?
Oh, it's
Rain
true.
Man Digital, the Rain Man Show.
It's actually Main Man
Fair
Digital.
All right.
Oh, he said that.
I tried to warn you,
All right.
and listen, now let's get it on.
Nice and hard.
All right, let's do it.
What are we doing?
Getting back to the show.
Oh,
All right.
Sex?
No. Why? Why would that be?
Why not?
Anyway, we have the Ocean's 11 setup for the 2 additional characters, Smash and Grab. And I liked how they brought them into it, that they had contracts under Barthamus or they had to work with him.
Well, one of them was a demon.
Yeah, but why would he help him out just because?
'Cause
I
he's a
feel like
demon.
he had to have something on the guy.
On the demon?
It doesn't really matter necessarily, but I liked that element at least for Alice, aka Smash.
I don't know. I didn't get that vibe for the demon. I just thought, demon working with Crossroads demon. I didn't see that being weird. Now the one for Alice made sense. She had a deal and, he didn't collect if she worked with him, but the demon.
He might have been working with him, but I got a vibe that they were all kind of there. Not because they wanted to be necessarily, but because they had ulterior motives.
Okay, fair enough.
Barthamus wanted something specific, Grab wanted X or Y, and then Smash wanted to get out of her deal, which of course she never would. And that was the biggest element takeaway from this episode for the new character of Charlie 2.0. There's been a bit of a discussion, and this is something that Mike and I talked about right after we saw the episode. Was the character of Alice a little bit too much like Charlie? And there's been an article over on buddytv.com asking, is Supernatural trying to reboot Charlie with the new character Alice? Saying that Alice isn't a completely one-to-one recreation of Charlie. There were elements that were reminiscent of Charlie, particularly her relationship with Dean. It's been rare, but it's always welcome when Supernatural shows a softer, more nurturing side of Dean's personality, as it's typically Sam who's the kinder Winchester. Yet with Charlie and now Alice, Dean shows the same kind of protective side that he often had on display with Sam. The relationship with Alice in The Scorpion and the Frog, this person claims feels like it was half father-daughter, half big brother, little sister. Felt that it worked. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this because I feel like I'm the outlier on this.
I don't feel like it was anything to the last 5 minutes. Like you literally knew nothing about her. She looked at Dean like a weird old man.
You're the creepy
like
weirdo.
He was a weird old man, which I've gotten stares like that too.
You get those to this day
from my little cousins. Are like, you're
you're a
strange.
weirdo. Yeah,
people on the street.
Yeah,
people say that to me just all the time.
Yeah, so I didn't really get anything from her until the ending when they dropped her off at the bus stop.
Which to me, that was the exact same way Charlie left in season 7.
I was okay.
Drop
with
her off at the bus stop.
I was okay with her character. She was quirky.
I didn't have a problem with her
fine.
either.
I didn't have an issue.
I mean, I did get a very similar, Charlie vibe, but it was different. I think the thing that kind of bugged me is I did like her and I wanted her to have a few more lines. I wanted to learn a little more about her. But I mean, I'm nitpicking. I mean, I thought she was cool.
I'm
and
about to nitpick.
Oh boy,
Jesus Christ!
Hit the hate train.
Because for me, while I liked Charlie, and we've gone on length about this over and over again. We liked Charlie the character. We didn't really like it when it became Felicia Day guest starring on Supernatural, but I liked Charlie the character. She had a lot of personality to her. She was brave, even though she was terrified of the Leviathan. We got insights to her personality, even in that very first and only episode for season 7. In this, I agree with you, Mike. You don't get anything of Alice until the last minute. And what we see of her, frankly, isn't enough for me to put in that much investment into this character, because I saw, admittedly, she's scared. I get it. But she ran away and only turned back because the demon forced her hand. That's not something that Charlie would have done or did in season 7. She showed true courage, true bravery, which is why it felt better that she was that little sister element to Sam and Dean.
So
Alice feels like a character that they felt, oh shit, here's something we can do. And I only even got a semblance of her personality at the very end when she's at the bus.
Okay, so are you saying she is like Charlie? Because you just made a strong argument against that.
I feel like they want her to be with that last minute at the bus where she's the kind of quirky girl that they're saying goodbye to because they helped her out. Yeah. But no other element of her gave me enough to want to see her return, and damn sure isn't enough to try and be a replacement for a character that although a lot of us are sad that Charlie's gone, to me, you don't do that to try and recapture that glory.
Yeah.
If you have a season in which so many people are returning from the grave or from an alternate universe in one way or another, then do that. If you're that dead set on returning Charlie to the storyline, don't give me, the Coke Zero version of this character.
What's wrong with Coke Zero, dude? That tastes good.
Because you feel like you'll get something from the fans.
You should have said Tab.
Tab, Jesus.
Tab would have made
RC Cola. There you go.
RC Cola's good as shit too. God. You're a hater.
I mean, I might be really negative on this standpoint, but for me, I would have much rather seen Alice be a little bit different. And admittedly, she's only in one episode. But for them to kill off Luther and Barthamus, who to me were far more interesting potential for the show.
That's
yeah.
I agree with you on that.
I do as well.
That seems like a mistake.
Yeah, I felt like Barthamus and Luther were way more interesting than Alex, who they decide to keep alive, because obviously they're going to use her down the road.
Yeah.
However, I just got done complaining about them killing characters when they should build up and stockpile characters, and that's what they're doing with Alex. She may not be the one that I would have chosen, but at the same time, I feel like it will work. I mean, I don't think she is. You were contrasting Charlie and Alex, and I agree with you on what's her name?
Alice.
And I agree with you with some of those elements. For example, Charlie wasn't a coward. She was brave. And Alice ran away. She abandoned Dean. And, you know, do you blame her? She doesn't know Dean.
But neither did Charlie.
But right. So that's the difference.
So
I feel like Charlie is a likable character from the very beginning, whereas Alice left. And not until after Dean and Sam showed their humanity by choosing to save her rather than get the Nephilim spell did she finally come around and say, okay, these guys are pretty cool. So I just feel like it's a big fat nothing topic. Like a lot of people are drawing conclusions that this is the next Charlie. I feel like she was just another stock character playing her part in the episode. And now there's a whole entire discussion and debate whether or not she's Charlie 2.0. And I don't even think that was their intention. I just think she's a character helping Sam and Dean get from A to B to C to D.
But frankly, also on that point, wouldn't it be more compelling if in this episode they learned that Alice is kind of forced against her will thanks to Barthamus' deal, and then they all leave? If they had this episode where Luther tells them, hey, you guys are working for the wrong side, Barthamus kind of screws them over, and Alice is still indebted to this demon, and he takes her away again, then whenever she shows back up, they'd have incentive to help her out. They would have incentive to help somebody who could not help themselves. And after seeing her predicament and seeing that Luther was showing them that they were working for the wrong person, because Luther himself was not a bad dude necessarily, it would have seemed to me like, okay, when Alice returns, I want them to help her. I want them to fight against Barthamus because she is a prisoner in this scenario. But from what I've seen in this episode, it's not enough to draw a comparison to Charlie. It feels very hollow, other than the fact that they have a similar hair color, personality style.
That's my point. She's a girl and she wears funky shoes.
That's not enough.
That's not Charlie. That doesn't. No. That's why I don't even think it's a topic. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss it. I'm saying I was
compared to what other people are saying.
Yeah, I get it. It's one of those things it's easy to draw those conclusions.
Yeah.
It's like what I said about Asmodeus and Colonel Sanders. Oh, look, he wears a white suit and he has a goatee and he's from the South. And I'm like, okay, that's an easy conclusion. And if you look at why they chose Asmodeus to dress a certain way, that speaks volumes. Not the fact that he looks like a fictitious character in a commercial. And now people are doing the exact same thing with Charlie and Alice. I just think it's the easy assumptions. Like, well, that's look at, they're the same. They both have vaginas and brown hair.
Just so you know, Colonel Sanders was a real person.
You know what I mean.
The caricature of Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Especially because Asmodeus is such a visual polarity to Crowley, who we just had.
Right.
Black outfit, black attire, British accent, Southern accent, all white attire. Like, it's a distinct visual difference for a number of reasons. So yeah, I think that this isn't exactly the time to try and recapture that Charlie fan favorite persona, or this is not the way in which to do that. Again, you have an entire opportunity to
with the multiverse, to bring her back that way.
Multiverse, to bring back characters from the dead. If you are going to try and hit that note, do it that way.
What if they bring back Charlie and she's like basically just Felicia Day again, and they're like, oh, this is her character over here?
But see, they've already kind of done that with the Oz dark version of her.
They managed to fix her character in the end, but then they killed her. So.
And that's the end of that sentence.
All right, cool. So see you later.
I think most people who are watching this probably don't even think about that. I just think the internet is very loud, and we see like 5 or 6 blogs pop up, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's Felicia Day's twin."
Right.
And they get excited. And there's a few buzzwords that the internet loves, and it's strong female lead, and those are the keywords, and they see somebody who could be that, and they
just jump
and they want to jump on it because they hope that's what they're doing.
I typically tune out.
Sometimes you just have a terrible character who's not interesting, and she happens to have no dick. Like, that's just how it is. Sometimes we want to read.
Goes both ways. Sometimes your characters just aren't interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she's not interesting. I'm just saying sometimes it is. Sometimes it is.
I think so far she doesn't have enough.
Yeah.
I just think,
I think she's definitely the least interesting character in the entire episode.
You said blog and I tuned out because that's typically what I do when blogs are involved. Blog or, Tumblrs or anything like that. I'm just like, I don't need to listen anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think she was that bad, but at the end of the day,
No, I didn't. I agree with you, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's not that she's that bad. It's that why keep that character around and try and make something more of it when you had 2 characters that were great?
Because, okay. So let me answer that. I'm going to answer that question for you. Because if they kept Barthamus around, you have Crowley 2.0, and we just had Crowley die, so we don't need to see another Crowley. If you bring... It is true.
But you've already brought him back, so why kill him off? Why not have him go away for seasons?
The fact of the matter is Crowley's never coming back. And if I swear to God, dude, the internet would have been like, oh God, Crowley 2.0. Mark Shepard's not even gone for half a season. They bring another Crowley in.
Why is that demonized when Charlie's 2.0 is okay?
Because how long's Charlie been gone?
2 years, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is
1 tub later.
Yeah, one bloody tub later. The thing is, it just, there's your answer to that one. Okay. So the other one that I'm more upset about is, what's the guy's Luther. I'm more upset about that because of the potential that could have been with his bunker or house, fortress, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude. He's not really Superman, but I guess that makes sense.
Just go with it.
Anyways,
his kryptonite is leaving.
He's immortal.
His kryptonite is leaving his
house.
home.
I just think that there was so much
Pizza
more.
Man has to come in. It has to be delivery.
Oh God. I think
He pulls him by the arm and kills him.
You've seen my house. No, I think that was a far more shame than that. I think we're everyone's looking at the Charlie 2.0, whatever. I would have liked more lines from her. I would have been okay with that. But I also too didn't look at it and go, I mean, yeah, she's quirky and weird. That doesn't make her Charlie. Like Mike said, it's just because they're similar doesn't mean that it's the same character.
Yeah.
I think we need to see more before we judge it. I think that's and we're going to. They're not going to have her come into an episode like that and then not come back at some point.
I just feel bad for the actress who just wanted a job on Supernatural and she's excited, and now people are drawing these comparisons
are being stupid
that are unfair and putting a lot of pressure on her due to blogs that just want to clickbait people and say, hey, this is the new Felicia Day. Are you cool with this, guys? And it gets everybody all up in an uproar, either yay or nay all over
She'll
Twitter.
Get haters automatically for no reason.
She was just a character. She wasn't great. She wasn't bad. To me, she was just a stock character that's used time and time again in Supernatural.
Exactly. So
I think for me, the lore part of the vault was pretty fucking cool, though.
The vault was badass.
I love the idea.
That's the favorite part of the entire episode.
Yeah. It's so Indiana Jones, dude.
I totally called. I'm like, just use the guy who's immortal and push him down the hallway. I so saw that coming, and I was that was hilarious.
That was
seeing him get hit with every time.
So my dumbass forgot that he was immortal. So I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna kill this guy, and I was like, oh, and then he starts getting hit. I'm like, oh yeah, dumbass is immortal. Like I literally was like, oh god, I am so stupid when I remembered that, because I'm like, oh man, they're gonna kill this dude. What the hell?
Yeah, I loved it, man. It
was so cool.
I rewound the part where Dean put his hands in the gargoyle.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I think I rewound it about 15 times, maybe 20. Dude, I was dying laughing when the entire like antics, Dean's antics leading up to that point.
Yeah, were great.
I was already laughing. And then it just made it worse. It's like when you're laughing and you're supposed to stop laughing and then someone pokes you in the ribs, you start laughing louder. And because when that
was it that like you're watching this at 2 a.m. so everything's funny?
No, it was on 11. But like then the pen popped into his poked in his finger, and I just died with his reaction. It was so fucking funny, dude. I was on some edibles, but I
Jesus.
But it was I went on the internet and they also agreed that it was very funny.
Therefore validating.
Well, if you listen to the video that I posted on Facebook of it, you can hear me dying, like laughing. I was like, well, I didn't know the volume was on this.
It was really cool. It also, it had like I said, it had a really cool Indiana Jones vibe. It also reminded me of, The Mummy. And I think it's the first one or the second one. The dude sticks his hand in the thing and it comes out all skeleton. I'm thinking, oh God, what's going to be in there? But I did like the CG on that part where his hand was in there. That was cool as shit.
I liked how much effort Adam and the team put into just a 2-3 second shot of the inner workings of that
was cool, man.
mechanism. Like that was cool. That's something that a lot of shows wouldn't put the time into.
Yeah, I was expecting something, not to that, I guess, effort, like you said, Thomas. It just seemed really, really, really well done for something that was just like you said, a 4 or 5 second shot. I mean, there's so many ways they could have done it, but they did it that way, and I thought it was pretty damn cool.
And that was, Meredith Glynn getting to have some fun with the concept, and having Jensen give a comedic performance is always fun.
Right.
But it wasn't just the visual effects in that. The stunts were awesome. I fucking loved the spinning car shot as Sam shoots out the window. Dude, that was fucking awesome. Rob Hader, thank you for that. That was so cool to see them do a little bit more, because the Impala has always been a part of the story, but we rarely get to see any action with that car.
Yeah.
And to see that shot, it was beautiful. It was smooth.
That was so cool.
It was so awesome to see.
It actually took me by surprise. That
I did not expect to see a car chase. A lot of times we see a
lot of cuts. We see a lot of cuts when they're in their car, and to see the camera, stay on the car, it spins. Sam brings his gun out and shoots. I'm like, that's a pretty
like an action movie.
Yeah, and that was a great shot to deliver on a TV show. I mean, especially on a show that we already know, we've already read about CW's insurance policies and not allowing actors to do certain things, even if they know how to do stunts. They don't want them doing them due to insurance and liability. So to see Sam be able to be in that car and pull the gun, I thought that was fun.
It was super duper cool. Yeah. It was something out of, like you said, something out of a movie. And I mean, I'm kind of ridiculous, but I was hoping he'd spin and then open the door and come out.
Oh, for God.
Like John Woo shit.
Yeah.
Because fuck physics.
Sam suddenly turns into like a Jackie Chan.
He's John
Leaping through the air, two guns shooting doves coming out of his ass.
That would be amazing.
Sam loses about 5 feet and becomes Jackie Chan.
Dude,
don't shoot.
Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me.
Don't shoot.
Wouldn't that be awesome though if they got Jackie Chan and put him in a wig and they were just like, oh, it's Sam doing a flip?
The worst idea.
I think it'd be funny if they did.
Had in a very
well, hold on. What if they did like a meta episode and it was like a joke, like it was a joke of a joke? I think it'd be funny.
A joke of a joke.
Hold on. Listen to how bad Ryan is at writing. Okay, no. I got a good one. Guys. So imagine if
they got Jackie Chan.
They got Jackie Chan, and it got meta, and it was a joke of a joke of a joke
of a joke.
Do you guys like that one, right?
Ryan, what the fuck are you talking about?
Let's print that up, guys. Let's put this to
production. you couldn't see that as like a French mistake or tricksters type episode.
I do.
I just like
just the way you said it.
Okay, so it needs some work. The idea needs some work, but the idea's there. I'm just saying, man. He'll run up the car, backflip off of it, and shoot through the back window.
It'd be great. I would watch it.
Of course you
would. Maddie said Jackie Chan teamed up with Osric Chow.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, the car element was awesome. But I think, guys, it's time to kind of go into final thoughts here. What did you think of this first Monster of the Week, truly Monster of the Week episode that wasn't connected to the main lore? Ryan?
I was waiting for it. You know what? I said it before we went on air. I like this episode. For a full-on filler episode that really didn't have much to do with any of the main plot, other than trying to get the spell for Jack. I mean, it really was a good episode. I didn't have a problem with the side characters. I think the name Smash and Grab was I rolled my eyes a little bit. I thought that was kind of goofy, but at the end of the day, this is just little things. The scenes, there was so much potential with that house with all the antiquities in it. I was really bummed that they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. That was one of the things I was really bummed about. I didn't have a problem with Alice. I thought she was okay. And like I said, she'll come back and we'll get more of her. And I think we're saying all this, everyone's saying all this crap right now, but when she does come back and, we get more character development from her, this will probably be exactly what we talked about with Bobby or all these other characters that were the same way. The scene, the vault scene was amazing. Freaking hilarious, with Dean. And like we said, Jensen is so good at comedic roles. And how he can turn it on and off, I think is awesome. Being funny, but being serious. The car scene was fucking legit. I want to blow that for a second, dude. That was one of the coolest scenes we've seen with the car in so long. And I wish we would get more of that because, essentially they've got this badass car and they don't just drive it around, and do nothing in it. Like that was cool that we finally saw like a car scene like that. And I did not expect, I was like, oh, they're going to cut. Like,
they've had them get beat up in the car before,
but nothing like that.
Escape element or shooting at it. Like I remember with the baby episode in season 11. But yeah, this was them in command being the attacker essentially. So it was awesome.
You know what, man? For a filler episode, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think, it had a purpose, even being a filler. So for me, man, I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it an A. I had a good time. It was I'll say an A-. Let's say an A- just because it wasn't groundbreaking. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed the episode, and my ranking is a little bit more petty than everyone else's. Let's be honest.
Mike, what about you? What'd you think?
I liked the episode. It was fun, and my thoughts are very similar to Ryan's. I feel like this was definitely the first official. I hate using the word throwaway because
it's not a right word. Yeah,
but it's definitely the first official standalone episode, kind of Monster of the Week type episode, and I'm okay with that. Again, that's what Supernatural was founded on. That's how they started. Mm-hmm. So when we go back to those episodes to give us breathers from the myth arc, I'm okay with that. And Meredith Glenn is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite writers on the staff. I know we didn't really care for her last year, unfortunately, but I think so far this year she's putting together some solid episodes. I liked the vague, subtle parallels that she was trying to draw between Luther and Dean, and one guy goes this way, the other goes this way. However, I feel like it was also written in the wrong order. I felt like I feel like if this episode was episode 4 or episode 5, I feel like they would have been able to deliver more. I felt like that parallel between Luther and Dean could have meant a lot more to the audience. I think if they did it before Castiel came back, it would have meant a lot, especially if Dean was still angry. He shot first, asked questions later. Mm-hmm. I felt like that would have been a lot stronger. And because Meredith is very capable when it comes to mixing dark realism with her fictitious writing,
that would have been great.
I feel like that's what this was supposed to be. And then because the episode order was didn't come where they wanted, they had to get a little lighter in some of those areas.
They had to sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah, they did. I also absolutely loved the scene in the vault, as I was just discussing a moment ago. I think Adam W. and the VFX crew did an amazing work. The VFX was fascinating. It was magical. It's like the word that came to me. The gears that turned within the door that led to the safe was awesome, was just really cool. I love things like that. The idea that some kind of like arcane technology
meets steampunk.
Yeah, was used to open a door, meshed with the lock of a locking mechanism, and you needed the blood of someone who escaped from hell. I mean, that is cool. That is awesome. The idea of Luther is just fascinating. The stunts were great, as you were saying. Robert Hader has definitely brought something to the show in the last 2 years. I think we said this early in this season that he might have stuttered a bit as he was getting used to working with everybody.
Show, right.
I think last season there were some issues in the opening season premiere that we had with the fight scene between Mary and the Men of Letters.
But I think it got better as we had Mary versus Ketch.
It got
that was
way
very
better.
violent.
It got way
awesome.
better. Rob Hader has definitely grown comfortable with the crew now, and to see him work and to take his know-how on set. I mean, this guy's from the theatrical film world. So the fact that he can take his cinema stunt know-how, bring it to television, something a little smaller like the CW, and make it work and deliver little scenes like that. Yeah. And that's what's amazing about this show when it comes to the stunts. The fact that we have a show that we've watched for 13 years and you can still open your eyes and say, that was a fucking cool scene.
Yep.
And it lasted 2.3 seconds. And it was great. It was awesome. So, I have to give this episode a B-.
B-.
Yeah.
All right. For me, I enjoyed a lot about this episode. I thought that the humor was there. I thought Meredith Glynn did a good job with that. And I definitely agree with Mike. I loved the ideas behind the parallels between Dean and Luther. But I feel like the evidence, maybe we're reading a little bit too much into it, but it seems perfect if that was a plot device parallel that would have been earlier in the season had Castiel not returned. I feel like this was would have been a super strong episode earlier on when it was being outlined and what season 13 is going to be about before they kind of arranged the dominoes in the order in which they did. So as a result, it feels like it had to sacrifice something. I thought that the introduction of Luther and Barthamus was awesome. I thought it introduced an immense amount of new lore, some new villains, some new avenues in which we can take the story. And I feel like we could have had a lot with them. And I don't feel like he was too much like Crowley. And I thought that Luther had a wealth of opportunity in his Fortress of Solitude. I liked even Sam's little, nerd out sessions. Like, it's still pretty cool. It's a Gorgon tooth. You know, things like that. But because it was missing some of that heavier weight, some of that Meredith Glynn's style of having a darker element tied to this upbeat thing. I mean, that was regarding Dean, the Alzheimer's mixed with he doesn't remember the girl he slept with or hit on last night. Some of those bits that you slowly see what could be if things go wrong for these characters, and the fact that she's thinking of the future is interesting, but unfortunately it feels like it's missing here somehow. But overall, I enjoyed the episode. I wanted to see more with the characters they killed off, and I feel like they made some missteps there. So for me, this episode's a B. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a Monster of the Week episode, but it had a lot of potential. I just wish we had done a couple of things differently with the stuff, with the ingredients that was there. We could have had something a lot stronger. Not that what we had was bad, just that it feels like there was sacrifices made for the place of this episode. So with that, guys, let's go into the discussion of the upcoming mid-season finale, The Bad Place.
Oh, where'd he touch you?
In the bad place.
In the bad place?
Show me on this voodoo doll.
Voodoo doll. Oh, that's weird.
Ryan, do you want to read the synopsis?
Can you imagine? Can you manipulate a voodoo doll for like sexual pleasure?
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
So you make your own voodoo doll and you start touching the crotch on it and you're like,
how is that different than just jerking it?
It's not.
Because then
you're not actually touching your own penis at that point.
Yeah, you're
just touching a doll.
So it's better because it's the doll?
Yeah.
It's almost like The Stranger. You know?
Yeah, it's like a stranger. Yeah. It's like putting peanut butter down there and letting your dog.
I didn't say that.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
What? Is that not a thing?
Good God.
What happened?
What happened?
What, guy?
PETA's going to call. That's what happened.
Nuh-uh. It's peanut butter. It's good for him.
Oh,
Anyways.
that's not the problem.
It's protein.
Anyways, all right.
The
Jack,
substance was not the issue.
God,
You
why
sick fuck.
Why do people listen to this show?
because they laugh
They do.
at me because I'm terrible.
Oh,
All right,
God.
Jack, desperate to prove to Sam and Dean that he is good and that he can control his powers, enlists the help of Dreamcatcher named Kaya to help him find Mary Winchester and save her from the alternate universe. However, when plans go awry, the Winchester brothers are the ones who need saving. Phil Scriccia directed this episode and written by Robert Behrens.
So it's the final episode before we go on break for a bit. I'm really excited. We haven't seen Jack for a couple of episodes. We know I really want to know what he's been doing, where he's been, what he's up to. The fact that we haven't seen Mary since the first couple of episodes raises a whole lot of questions as well. The alternate universe, I feel like, is going to come into play real fucking quick with him trying to open the rift between worlds. And I'm also excited to see the next phase of the Wayward Sisters installment moving forward.
Yeah.
The fact that something goes wrong, I'm really interested to see how that plays out. Is that going to be a Jack loses his powers, loses control for a moment? Is that going to be a decision he makes for whatever reason, or he screws up? Will this be the catalyst that pushes him farther down that road? Will this be the start? We're already kind of on that road that he feels like the villain, and we've talked about this at length, that we feel like
I don't want it to be Thomas.
that we're watching the beginning of a tragic hero's downfall, the rise of the villain. Is this going to be it? What ramifications are there with death, knowing the fact that you can't fuck with these realities too much? It's a house of cards.
You can't fuck with them.
Are you ready for them to do that already? I think we need more time.
I think we need more time. We do. But that's why I'm really curious about this episode. I mean, it's called The Bad Place, so we have to assume the alternate reality. I want to know what's been happening to Mary. I want to know where...
Jack, where's Barry? In the bad place.
In the bad place? She's in your butt?
Why is that a bad place?
Wouldn't you see her?
Oh, my God.
It's not like she can hide, you weird.
Maybe.
Sometimes.
You don't know.
Sometimes.
I have to agree with Ryan on that one.
Thank you. Hooray.
No, I'm excited for this episode, Thomas.
It sounds cool.
I feel like there's a lot of moving parts, as we were saying, and now you're introducing yet a new member of the Wayward Sisters. And I think, to me, that on top of the fact that we're getting a Jack-centric episode, I feel like that's the most excitable part about this, because I think this is a great way to launch Wayward Sisters. Again, I keep saying this. We can't judge the enthusiasm of our spinoff based on the internet, because that's a very small portion of the true audience that tunes in each and every single week. Millions when you take in all the ways to view Supernatural, whether it be reruns or the new episodes. And I feel like the best way to introduce this spinoff so that it is a success to everybody is by getting the stories innovated. Get them started on this show, introduce the characters, get us invested, get us interested, and then, hey, by the way, this is the backdoor pilot with all these characters that you have seen this week. It's a great way to do it. Isn't this what we said last year?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
They have to, in order for this to be successful, it would be great for them to not only take characters that we know, but also make it a part, weave
their narrative in with the main narrative to start off with.
Make their characters important to the myth arc of Supernatural season 13. Even if I'm not saying they need to be the focus, but have them play their parts.
Yeah. And I honestly, one of the things I'm looking forward to is that it seems like this mid-season finale and premiere are well thought out. They seem to be critical to the main plot of season 13
So
and
much better than last
critical
year.
to the plot of Wayward Sisters. And that's the thing. It reminds me of season 9's mid-finale where we have the death of Kevin, season 11's mid-season finale with the release of Lucifer. The season 12, the Lotus episode was one of our least liked episodes because it felt disjointed and out of place, and then the return kind of felt like something else entirely. This feels like they're setting up for a 1-2 punch between the finale and the premiere, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I want to be on the edge of my seat having to wait a month and a half for the return of Supernatural. Not what did I just watch that we unfortunately had last year.
Yeah, last year was a
bit of a mess.
It was a mess. I mean, you sat there and you were just like, what?
Yeah.
And
with
I think,
Robert Barron's at the helm.
Dude, this is going to be a good episode. I have faith that this is going to be really cool. I mean, yeah, I'm a little suspect about, a new character, Kaya, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's got Jack in it and it's Jack-centric, and we've liked Jack so far. So I think this will be a good episode. I mean,
I'm really
Phil
excited.
Scruccia and Robert Barron's, they typically don't write poopers.
I'm really excited to see what happens with Jack. What's the next step in his journey?
Jennifer Renee in the chat room says that the Wayward Sisters is just a girl Ghostbusters to me, just as uninteresting, just as forced, and just as not really wanted by many. LOL. And then she said she's all for representation, but representation, with developed characters. Well, absolutely. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And that's something that we always talk about on, I think, every show we do, Thomas.
Every show.
We say, unfortunately, there is a very bad trend. And because there's an outcry for representation, we get representation dictating story. And what you should be doing is having your story dictate representation.
Yes.
So write your story to where representation would make sense. Don't just force a bunch of characters that make no sense together. Like that's why I don't like the CW, because the town of Riverdale makes no sense.
It's the weirdest demographic.
You're in a redneck town, and yet you have an Arab mayor. This
is in San Francisco.
This is reality. You're dealing with a redneck city in the hills. You're not going to have a diverse demographic there.
You're just not.
You're just not.
Have you been to Kentucky?
And so if you want, this is where representation dictates story. So if you want to do Riverdale, take it someplace else and allow your narrative to dictate the representation. Make it make sense. And I'm
That's
all
the difference between something like Riverdale and your Breaking Bad or The Wire.
And this is a Mexican speaking right now. Like I can't stand that when you have these shows on particularly CW and they dress Mexicans up in a way, and I'm just like, that's not a Mexican.
Because then it's token. It's not because they are
hey guys,
part of the
just
story.
because you named the guy Juan Gomez doesn't mean you're representing anybody.
Yeah.
Like you're filling
You can't just have a name and a character and call it.
You're ticking off. You're checking off a bracket. It's like, there we go. Got that one.
Got one.
We got a black guy.
I want to collect them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm hoping Wayward Sisters isn't that.
I don't think it will be.
Because now Jennifer is getting me all scared.
I'm hoping it's not. And again, the fact that they seem to be setting up the 1-2 punch for the finale and premiere makes me a lot more excited than I was this time last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm like I said, I have faith. I don't feel like you're gonna take a character like Kim Rhodes, who's been on the back burner for 7-8 years, and then you're gonna say, "Hey, you want your chance? Here we go. We have an ill-conceived story that's nothing but a PC blowfest." I can't imagine anybody doing that on board the Supernatural team saying, yeah, let's do this to Jodie Mills. She's going to love it.
Right.
Because that's a sure way to ruin a character. I don't think they're going to do that. I feel like this is a well thought out idea. In fact, didn't Kim Rose, didn't she say something like on the net saying this isn't a girl power show? This is a show that's not about girl power. This is the show where the characters happen to be women. And when she said that, I'm like, there you go. That's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
So with that comment, I mean, I feel better that she said that.
I do.
Because I don't think anybody wants to feel like they're being like
pandered to.
Yeah, we don't want pandering.
No.
No, I want you to tell a story that you feel is worth telling with characters I enjoy their struggle and what they're going through.
Yeah.
Not because, oh, that I too am this category.
Oh, look, she's Hispanic. She needs our help.
That's not a character.
She's Hispanic. Let's give her her chance, guys.
That's a checkbox.
Let's give ourselves a pat on the back because we're giving a Mexican a chance.
Because they can't do it on their own.
Give me a chance. Give me a chance.
All right. That's pretty much going to wrap it up here, guys. But we do want to say make sure you tune in next week when we have not only the mid-season finale, but the culmination of the USAopoly Grand Prize, where you guys can win the entire gamut of games.
Oh.
Gamut got you hard? That's so
Apparently.
weird.
I'm just excited.
Trivial Pursuit, Monopoly, and the Save Your Souls card game, all available through USAopoly. Again, guys, you can get some of those things at Hot Topic. I've seen each one of those things at Hot Topic. Yes, I have gone there. I fully admit that. So we want to thank USAopoly for being a part of the show this year, this first half of season 13. And make sure to tune in next week. Until then, thank you guys for listening to us here at Supernatural The Crossroads. We will see you all later.
You little maggot. You are no longer a part of this story. Hey, ass butt.
Thank you.